morning, and welcome to another Fast Tracks webinar. Webinars are weekly events that are held on Fridays at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. And they cover a variety of topics from the Fast Track Solutions softwares that we have. To get to the webinars, if you just go to our website at goftx.com and then go over to the FTx Lifeline link and click on it, you'll go about halfway down the page and there'll actually be the webinar section. From here, you'll be able to go through and view previous webinars that have been recorded and uploaded, as well as you can register for upcoming webinars. And you can also subscribe to get notified of upcoming webinars and other Fast Tracks news. So today what we're going to do is we're going to cover doing the MSA report in Warehouse. So the first thing we'll have to do before we can do the report is we have to get the information in that we need for the MSA. In order to do that, what we want to do is go to Maintenance in Warehouse. Then we're going to go over to Settings. Within Settings, we're going to go to the tab that says Other. So if you notice, our first box is MSA Settings. We have our distributor ID. As of right now, I don't have anything entered in. We have our contact first and last name. So here's where we're going to go in and enter our MSA distributor ID. This is what number MSA sees us as. So all I'll do is in the box, I'll type in my number. I'm just going to use 12345 and I'll click Add. Now you can see I have that number in the drop down. And then I can go and add my contact information. All right, once I have my distributor ID and my contact information, I just come down to the bottom right and I click on Save Settings. All right, that saved it. So now I have my distributor ID for reporting to MSA entered into the warehouse. So the next thing we need to look to do is actually go in and set our items up to report to the MSA categories. So that is actually done under Item Maintenance. And if we just look up any item, you notice there's an MSA information tab for it. So if we click on that one, here's where we enter all the MSA information for each item. So we mark it if it is an MSA item or not. So if it is an item, we have to check it. We put in the MSA category. This will be the category that you have from MSA to report what category this specific product goes into. The next column to the right is our sticks/cans. So this is where you're reporting, how many cigarettes or how many cigars or how many cans are on this particular item when you sell it. We have the MSA description. This is what's reported to MSA. Most of the time, this is going to be the exact same as your item description. So if you look at your item setup, most of the time it's going to be the same. It's a possibility there could be a different one, but 9 times out of 10, you're just going to copy the description and put in here as well. Then we have the option, is this a MSA shipper item or is it an MSA promo item? And if it's a promo item, we also have to put in our promo code for MSA and what the promo description is. And the last thing is, what is the state tax jurisdiction that you're reporting to for MSA? All right, so with that, we would just go through any item that we have to report to MSA and make sure we have this information filled out as well. All right, the next step would be to actually run the MSA report after we've got everything set up and we've done sales. To run the report, we'd go to the reports module. And from here, we'd go to sales. And then from the sales reports, we're going to go to MSA sales. So here, all we have to do is we would set our start and stop date for our reporting. What week are we reporting to MSA? We would select our distributor ID. And then you'd select what stores you're reporting your sales to. Generally, you're going to do all of them, so you can just hit the include all checkbox to check all of them. So our options to run the report is if you're in the process of getting verified with MSA, they probably want you to create a test file. So that's where you would just tell it to create a test file so you could send that to them. We have the option to auto FTP send. What this will do is once you run the report and it's generated, it would then automatically FTP that over to MSA for you, so you don't have to manually send it to them. In order to do so, once you check the auto FTP send, you notice we had another box open up here at the bottom. This is where we're going to put in our FTP site. So where are we sending it to? What is your username and your password to log on to the FTP site? And then what folder are we putting that file into? So you would have all this information filled out. Once the reports ran, it would then use those credentials to log into the site and upload your file for you. We also have the option to separate returns. So what that will do is it will put returns on a separate section of the report for you. It's not included with the regular sales. And then we also have the option to use snapshot. So use snapshot, what that would end up doing is it's going to use your snapshots each day instead of using your live inventory totals. So we would just use the snapshot for the day that it's ran. All right, once we have everything set up here, we have two different options. We can actually add this to favorites, which if we do that, we create a favorite, so you can just go into your favorite reports and it would be there for you already set up. To do so, you just hit add to favorites and give it a nickname and hit save. Now my report's been added to the favorites. The favorites tab is located at the top to the far right. And this is where all of our favorite reports would be. So we can just tell it which one we're wanting to open. And it pulls it up with our credentials. Another option that we have is also to schedule a report. This way you can actually set it on a schedule where the report will automatically run for you on a given day at a given time. So to do the scheduled reports, I would do the same thing. I'd get the report set up the way I would need to run it, and then I would tell it add to scheduled reports. And from here, you just, again, give it a name. How often are you going to run it? So with this being MSA, this is going to be done weekly. I can tell it what day I want to run the report on. So say if I wanted to run it on a Tuesday, I select what time. And then the export type, I can do a PDF and Excel with data only, or I can do Word. This is the file that would be sent to you basically for confirmation. So I'm just going to leave it as a PDF. You'd put in your email address. And if you wanted to send it to more than one person, you would just put in a comma and then put in the next email address. Once you have that entered, you just hit save. And it added to my scheduled reports. So now if I go to the top and look at scheduled reports, here's my MSA one that I just created. And it tells me that's going to be ran weekly. Last ran actually has last year's date on it because it's not ran yet. And it tells me what time it's ran. So once the report runs, you'd see as the one above it, it will update the last run time of when the last time it ran and what time it ran. All right, so one other step that we need to do for doing any scheduled reports or scheduled orders or anything within the warehouse is we do have to set up a scheduled task through Windows to get that to run. So the executable that we'd want to set the task up for is called warehouse schedule task. This is what runs to look in the Fast Track software to see if there's anything that needs to be ran. But to get this to kick off, we have to actually set up a Windows scheduled task. So to get here, you can actually go into Windows and just type in Task Manager, or I'm sorry, Task Scheduler, and it'll come up. I've already got one created here that's disabled. But basically what we'd end up doing here is we would go into the Task Scheduler and you would come over here and tell it to create a task. Since we have one created, I'm just going to go into the properties of it. This is what you're going to see when you go to do a new task. It's going to start off with the General tab. We give it a name. In this case, I've got it named Fast Track's Warehouse Schedule Task. On this machine, I have it to run only when the user's logged on. You also have the option to run whether the user's logged on or not. 9 times out of 10, the run with user logged on is sufficient. The next thing we want to look at is our triggers. This is, when are we running it? So I'm just going to go in and edit this one. So as you can see, it's do it on a schedule. I'm doing it daily. This is my start date. This is basically the day that I'm creating the task. What time do I want it to run? And then below on the advanced settings, I'm telling it to repeat the task every 2 hours for the duration of a day. This can be changed 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, ever how often you want it to run. This would be for if I had scheduled reports set to run throughout the day at different times, I would want it to keep repeating. If you're doing this just to run the MSA report, you could set it to run just one time and not to repeat. So this is just a matter of if you've got other things that's going to be ran on a schedule that needs it to continue to run. So in this one, like I said, I have it set to repeat the task every 2 hours for a day. Then basically it'll start at 1 a.m. and it'll keep running for the day every 2 hours. That task will end and another one will start tomorrow morning at 1 a.m. All right, once you have everything entered here, you just hit OK. The next one we want to look at is actions. So as you can see, the action says start a program. That's what we're wanting to do. We're wanting to start that warehouse schedule task executable. So your action is start program. And then what is it that we're wanting to start? To get there, you just hit browse. And we'd go to the Fast Tracks folder. Just see Fast Tracks. And then we would find the warehouse schedule task. All right. With this one, we don't have to have any arguments for it, so we could just hit OK on that one. And those are really the only 3 tabs that we need to hit in the Windows schedule task. It's just the general, the triggers, and the actions. Once I have everything set up, that looks good to me, I would just tell it OK. When creating a new one, this would actually turn to where it says ready because we just created it, and so it'll run the next time it's supposed to. So In this case, I should have it run today at 11 a.m. should be the next time that it runs. All right, once we have that entered in, we can just close out of the Windows Task Scheduler, and we're done. The MSA report will then run on a schedule, depending on how we have it set up, if it'll automatically FTP or not. But that would then report your sales to MSA for you, so you don't have to worry about manually doing that weekly to get it sent. Well, I hope everybody learned something today. Again, webinars are weekly events that we do hold every Friday. And to get to the webinars, if you want the direct link, you can just go to goftx.com/webinars, and that will bring you straight to this page. And again, from here, you can actually subscribe to get notified of the upcoming webinars. You can view the previous webinars, or you can register for upcoming webinars. All right, thank you and have a good day.